When I was younger, my father worked at St. Joseph's Hospital. My father is one of my few heroes in this world, but he worked multiple jobs, but his main job at that time was working at St. Joseph's Hospital, and he worked in maintenance and housekeeping. And I used to, when I was a little small child, I'd go there with those nice slick floors, and I used to see these people walking around with white coats on and penny loafers. And I remember at 7 saying to him, "Daddy, what do they do?" And my father called all physicians interns. He said, "They're interns, they take care of people, they're doctors." I said, "Is that what they do?" I said, "Whatever it is they do, that's what I'm gonna do," because they dress nice. I was 7 and I wanted to be whatever it was they did because they dressed nice. That was my whole life from that point on. A lot of my friends, if they had any ambitions, I'm gonna be a professional football player, I'm gonna be a professional basketball player. Because I grew up in the inner city of Matthew Henson Housing Project, right at 7th and Buckeye. By the time I became a little older, we moved to Maryvale. But there was nobody that really looked like me that was a doctor that I knew of at that point in time. And as I researched back and I got a little older, I realized there was only like 4 African-American physicians in Maricopa County. By the time I finished high school, I knew that I was going to go pre-med somewhere because I had over 150 full-ride academic scholarships to every school you can imagine. One from Stanford University on the West Coast to Harvard on the East Coast and everything in between, MIT, Northwestern, Cincinnati, Tulane. I got accepted at every medical school I applied to. And I got accepted to some biggies. So the U of A, in my home state medical school, had no other option but to accept me. I ended up being the first African-American in the state studying medicine in 8 years. I had KKK notes left on my desk, swastikas left on the bulletin board of my class, the N-word "go home" written on chalkboard. My mother only cared about being in a position to help people. Because as far as her and my father were concerned, there were so many people that did not get the help they needed. All she cared about, me to use my brain to get in a position to be able to help people and influence their lives in a positive manner. That's why I was crushed when I lost my mother this past year, because she was my fuel. I've been between McDowell and Buckeye for my whole career. And the reason I put my office there is because I wanted to be in the area where I initially grew up. And people would come up to me and say, "Well, Duane, you're going to the South Central area in the projects. You're never going to make a living." And I said, "Watch." And it's the amazing thing, within 3 years, I had probably the most lucrative solo practice in Arizona, in pediatrics, in South Central Phoenix. And people will wonder, how did he afford this car and that and this house? Because those people never got turned away. I saw them irregardless of their ability to pay. People said, "Dr. Wooten, I get letters all the time, you saved my kid's life." You know what I say? I didn't save your kid's life. God saved your kid's life. I'm just the vessel that God used to make it come to fruition. I'm just a vessel. And that's how I act, that's how I live, that's how I work. The Arizona Historymakers Award, to me, is like the creme de la creme. I've won a lot of awards in my day, and a lot of them have been very special to me, but this one is extremely special because it focuses on Arizona and the impact that you've left in your home state, my home state in particular, of Arizona. And that means everything to me because that's been my passion for my entire life, changing people's lives and doing what's right. I love my state. I want it to be better. We're working on it to be better. And with these kind of people, focusing on people who are trying to do that same thing, it can only be better.